I hear you, bro. So shortly, I think about 5 or 6 months later, after that broken nose, you go through your recovery, and that's when your first MMA fight on October 23rd for Shamrock FC happened. You came out of the gates. You looked like a young Khabib Nurmagomedov. Tell me about that feeling and before the fight in the back room. What's going through your head?
Man, I felt so confident going in because there was two corners. There was the blue corner and the red corner, and all the blue corner guys, there's some good fighters and stuff, but all the red corner guys that I was stuck with was some of the best pros that were in the St. Louis area, and I know all these guys on a first name basis. I've trained with all of them, and I saw this guy walking around with a couple of kickboxing coaches, the dude I'm fighting and stuff, and I was like, man, I'm training with some of the best. I'm training 5 days a week. I train my ass off. This dude, I'm sure he trains hard, but I don't think he's training with the best. I don't think he's training as hard as me. I feel like a pro, man.
It sounds like we hear a lot of pros say this. It's almost cliche, but you take confidence from your work ethic, right?
Exactly. Yeah, man, you really do. Because especially as an amateur, man, I'm like, a lot of these pros that do it for a living and take it serious, they do train 5 days a week. But I'm like, how many of these amateurs are training 5 days a week?
Yeah.
Going for runs in the morning. I don't think they all are.
I hear you, man. In that back room, I know you said that it was that you were very confident. So I want to ask you, what was the most positive thought that went through your head? And what was the most negative thought, if you had any, that went through your head before you walked out to the octagon?
The most negative thought that went through my head was just a couple of times you just got to, it kind of pops to the front. You got to send it right back. But it's, man, what if I get clipped going in for the shot? It makes you not want to shoot, But I'm like, I need to shoot, so I need to get that out of my head.
And that's even more interesting. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's what you just said is even more interesting because we know about your injury. It happened as you went for a shot. So is this something that's in the back of your head where like maybe you're a little bit nervous to shoot and maybe that's something you need to work through?
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like it's also almost a blessing in disguise because now I'm going to set my shots up. I'm not just going to dive in blindly and get head kicked. So
yeah. So what style of fighter was your opponent that night?
He was a Muay Thai fighter.
Okay, so maybe that aided you in getting him to the floor a little bit.
Yeah, because man, he came out with them. You know how some Muay Thai guys keep their hands real high? He had them real high, so I just knew if the lower I dove, it was going to be harder for him to get his hands all the way down there.
So we're showing the clip on the screen right here of that nasty takedown. You shot for the takedown like within the first second of the fight. So when did you see that his hands were super high? Was it kind of like as he's shadow boxing before the fight starts, or did he come up or come out when the bell rang with his hands high?
Yeah, he raised his backhand because usually guys keep their hands by their chin, but he raised his backhand almost by his eye and his lead hand well over his forehead, and he had his hand like out like a karate style almost. So I was like,
as the bell rings, he's coming towards you like that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I just dove right underneath him.
Cool, man. We couldn't see that on the video. I don't know who's your cameraman or camerawoman, but you might need to find a better one because they started by filming the floor.
Yeah, I saw that, man. I don't think they expected me to come in like that.
Yeah. They thought they had a second or two to gather their belongings.
Yeah, they thought they were going to be able to gather belongings, maybe get us a circle in or something.
Yeah, man. So, I don't fight at all, but even anybody who works out, right, on a daily basis, they know you wake up and some days you don't want to work out. And some days you got to go to outside sources of motivation to get your ass out of that bed. So when you don't want to go train, when you don't want to fight, whatever the case is, what are some things that you listen to get motivated? Podcast, person, tell me about that.
It's funny. We started the podcast with Conor McGregor. One of my favorite motivational speeches. I always wait to listen to it until I'm about on my 6th or 7th mile because I usually run about 8 or 9 miles. I'll be ready to walk, and I'll just turn on my Conor McGregor motivation speech.
Yeah,
and it's specifically the one where he predicts all his fights because he always makes a prediction. So
yeah. I've used those a lot too. Which Conor McGregor content motivates me a lot, and like you said, you save it for when the workout gets hard. You don't want to use this in the first half. This is kind of funny, but his walkout song, you know how it's Sinead O'Connor and then it transitions into Biggie.
Yeah.
When I'm on like my last set of deadlifts and I'm bloody tired, I'll put that on and I'll be like, wait a minute, this dude goes to the octagon. I can fucking squat right now.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That walkout music just gives me tingles. So
Yeah, man. My walkout song I thought was pretty cool. It was all my friends were loving it. That's always one of my favorite parts of the fights is the walkout song. Always the most entertaining to me.
tell me about that walkout. Let's start with the song. What song did you choose?
I picked Who Wants Smoke.
Yeah, I
But
don't know that
basically,
song. I don't really listen to much current music, but I imagine it's a hype song. Tell me about the walkout. What emotions are going through your head? Like, do you have to keep yourself calm?
um, basically, man, I was just letting the adrenaline pump. I did my little wrestler jog, hops, and then I up and down. And my typical, I have a little wrestling routine, just a little walk back and forth, little hop, and then a squat jump. So I did that, and then I started my walk. I raised my hands in the air, just trying to look confident, feel good. Uh, look good, feel good. That's my motto. So
Yeah,
I went out there, smiles, hands up, and my coach told me, he said, "Hey, when you get out there, circle the octagon, feel the octagon." So I went out there and I circled it, and I looked at the corners where my coaches were and everything, and then when I came, the ref looked at me. He said, "All right, went over everything in the locker room. We're gonna announce you guys, and then we're gonna fight." All right, man, that's ready to go.